Coming to you live from the fabulous MediaPlex in downtown Windsor, this is a St. Clair College journalism presentation.
Good evening, I'm Sean Garrity, and you're watching MediaPlex News Now. If you've been careful with treats after the holiday season, Paczki Day may provide a little too much temptation. The day marks the beginning of Lent, and local bakeries are frying up hundreds of paczkis today, including low-fat, low-skis for those concerned about the calorie intake. Fentanyl is the new drug of choice for some Windsorites. I took to the streets to find out more.
Prescription opiates are nothing new to the city of Windsor. Doctors and pharmacists around the area are noticing the number of users compared to the years before has skyrocketed. First it was Percocet, then Oxycontin. Now a new drug is making its mark in the medical and narcotic world. The drug is called fentanyl. Fentanyl is a highly addictive opiate and is 100 times more powerful than morphine, which most likely is attracting addicts in Windsor.
Like I said, the high was great. And and I enjoyed it, and I just kept on buying.
Sally, whose name has been changed, says the withdrawal process is much worse than other narcotics.
My experience was my legs and my arms felt like they're being pulled. And I was getting hot and cold flashes. You can't sleep until you have to get the next hit.
The highly addictive drug comes in a patch form. The patch sticks to the skin and absorbs into the body in a 3-day time release. Dr. Hammer, a Windsor addiction specialist, said the drug is on the rise and more people are experimenting as they need to find a replacement for other opiates.
It's become much more popular, particularly since Oxycontin was taken off the market in the United States and became less readily available here.
The United States is the largest consumer of prescription opiates in the world. Canada is not far behind, sitting second.
Robert Goulard, who's been addiction counselor for 4 years, does not understand why addicts are turning to this lethal patch.
People they're overdosing on it. They're actually they're killing themselves. It's suicidal to use that kind of drug,
According to the RCMP and the Windsor Police, prescription drugs are showing up more in drug investigations. They say Oxycontin, Percocet, and other opiates such as morphine and fentanyl are the drugs they come across most often. From MediaPlex News, I'm Sean Garrity.
Now let's take a look at the early weather with weather specialist Sarah Ryrie. How's it looking like out there, Sarah?
You caught me off guard, Sean. I was just finishing my last paczki of the day. Although they are delicious, we're here for the weather. Today's been mostly cloudy with a low of -10 and a high of -4. The temperatures will drop even more to -12 tonight with a 40% chance of flurries. Back to you, Sean.
Thanks, Sarah. The University of Windsor's Student Alliance has begun supporting a controversial movement. The UWSA held a referendum last week that led to the support of the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. BDS is described as a movement that calls for the country's compliance with international law and Palestinian rights. MP Jeff Watson called it a movement of anti-Semitism when he raised the issue in the House of Commons yesterday afternoon. The boycott is already causing a rift among University of Windsor students, but there is still ratification process before the referendum becomes official. We have a special live guest in the studio. Reporter Stacy Janzer is here with Ron Dunn. Stacy?
Thanks, Sean. I'm here with Ron Dunn, the Director of Development and Community Relations at the Downtown Mission. Hi, Ron. Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
Can you tell me what a typical day at the Mission is like?
Well, there's no typical day at the Mission, but every day is filled with helping those in need, and we've been doing that since 1972.
Can you tell me a couple of things that you specialize in?
Well, we have, I guess we're most known for our hot noon hour meal. That's a complete lunch, everything from salad all the way through to dessert. If you're only going to have one meal a day, we wanted to make it a good one and as nutritious as possible.
Can you tell me, tax season's coming up, and I know that you do help with assisting in preparations for people for income tax. Can you tell me a little about the program?
Sure. Last year we did over 2,000 income taxes, and so income tax season has already started for us. In fact, it started February 20th. It is free to anybody who is in need. and is under the poverty line. We don't do business taxes, however, but any individual or family is certainly welcome to come in any day, Monday to Friday. It's 8:30 to 11:30. Just drop it off, and our volunteers will take care of it and e-file it and get it out the door.
Now, I know there's a culinary assistance program, which seemed very interesting. Can you tell me anyone who can sign up and basically the process of going through that?
The CAP program, as it's known, has been a very good program for the mission and for those that we serve. We've taken over about 3 years ago the Charles Clark Square concession stand. So applicants will go through a process. It's meant for anybody with a barrier to employment. So once they've kind of been determined eligible, they do a 16-week training program at the mission where they learn how to work in an industrial kitchen, food handling, safety, those types of things. And then we ship them off to Charles Clark Square where they do, kind of fast food stuff. It's really a great program. We've put through about 97 people so far. And I got to say about 55-60% of those are now gainfully employed. So we're really happy with the program.
Is there an age restriction at all?
There's not, no. Anybody, 16 to 85, I guess. No, there isn't.
Is there an underlying need in Windsor that we're missing?
Well, I think that our numbers are proof that while certainly the economy is improving for some of us, it's not for everybody. And so I guess the message is that there's a lot of work left to be done. There's many people faced with poverty in this city. 1 in 5 is living in poverty, and that's a big number. We grew 15% in the last year, 40% over 5 years in our meal programs. 2013 we did 130,000, or 2012 we did 130,000 meals. 2013 we did about 145,000 meals. That's a lot. So the underlying need, I guess, is that the message is that we need to continue to do everything we can, and we do that with no government support. Everything is donated. Every dollar that comes through the door and every canned good, every meal that we put out is based on the generosity of your viewers. So that's a big part of what we're up to.
I was going to ask, do you have anything in particular that you need right now, donation-wise?
Yeah, we're always looking for canned goods. So any type of protein, canned ham, canned meats, salmon, anything like that. Peanut butter is always something we're after.
And you're located still on Victoria Avenue?
664 Victoria. And the best way to find out is downtownmission.com.
Great. And there is a number as well?
Yeah, 973-5573. We'll get you right to reception.
Perfect. Thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It was great. Remember that if you do have any donations, take them down to 664 Victoria Avenue. Back to you, Sean.
Thank you, Stacy. You might want to think twice before checking that text. Distracted driving fines have been increased. Rick Dawes has the story.
Melanie Garden isn't shy when there's a cell phone in the car.
Actually say, oh, did you need me to text somebody back? Oh, can I call them for you? Here. And I've taken people's phones and I've put them on the far side so they can't reach them.
She makes sure whoever drives her is paying attention. Beginning March 18th, the penalty for distracted driving will increase to a total of $280. That's $100 more, including court fees. Over 1,000 vehicles were stopped in Windsor for distracted driving last year.
OPP are reporting that 30 to 50% of cases in this jurisdiction are because of distracted driving. That's a huge percentage of cases. Think about that. Up to half of the car accidents in this province are caused by people who are distracted while they're driving. That's an epidemic.
Talking on the phone, texting, eating, and even doing crossword puzzles. Garden has heard it all. But just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Even an untrained eye can spot a distracted driver.
I'm a truck driver, and I see tons of people driving out there talking on their phone, texting, and you can't control your vehicle when you're you're doing something like that. You just can't.
Matt Dasty says Windsor police have pulled over 200 vehicles since January 1st for this offense.
That's, I think, why the government has taken this important step in the right direction and increasing the fines. It's a matter of changing attitudes.
Garden says she thinks it will be a while yet before distracted driving is regarded the same as impaired driving.
For certain people, they're not going to get the message, and I think those people should be charged with careless driving, and there should be heavier fines. For general people, like the general population, I think the message is slowly getting out.
Rick Dawes, MediaPlex News.
Leamington breathes a sigh of relief after a new company plans to take over the old Heinz plant. Stacy Janser has the details.
Leamington, Ontario, the tomato capital of Canada, a municipality mixed with farmland and homes. The people here rely on Heinz, one of Leamington's biggest employers. 4 months ago, Heinz released a statement saying it was going to close the Leamington facility in 6 to 8 months. But last week, a small reprieve for Heinz workers. Pradeep Sood, part of Highbury Canco Corporation, has a new plan for the old factory.
We're going to be canning other products as well. Not all the products, but there will be a reasonable number of products that will be canning for Heinz as a co-packer.
This move is set to save almost a third of the jobs, something John Patterson is pleased with.
So we've kind of known what was happening, and we're just keeping our fingers crossed that it was going to go through. I was quite excited actually to think that, wow, it's going to close and open the next day basically.
Sood is the president and CEO of ExactScribe, an owner of Outsource Process Incorporated. Specializing in digital technology and outsourcing, Sood started Highbury Canco with 4 other corporations.
And each of the shareholders brings a strong manufacturing background, food manufacturing background, logistic background, finance background. So we have a pretty strong group of investors.
This still leaves many Heinz employees without work in 3 months.
We'll continue to try and do what we can to expand our economic development here and hopefully create jobs that way.
The news is good for some, and if Highbury can close their deal within 60 days, this plant may still be able to produce tomato products. Heinz is still set to lose almost 500 jobs in June. For MediaPlex News, I'm Stacy Janser.
A new law has residents of Ontario counting calories. Reporter Lubna Fawaz explains.
Are you going to consider switching your meal by looking on how many calories it has? Ontario is betting on that by introducing a new legislation requiring fast food chains to post calorie counts next to each item on the menu. The law aims to help families make healthier choices.
I want to look good, right? No one wants to be fat, so I would look at what I'm eating and I would try and, be a healthy guy.
I think, being obese, if you want to watch your figure, I think it's a matter of will. And, not so much if there's calories on the side of a food item.
People who are conscious of what they're eating will definitely go for it more, and people who maybe don't care about it as much will start to become aware of what they're putting into their body.
The Making Healthier Choices Act, if passed, will focus on calories, and although it requires flagging high sodium items, health authorities prefer not to overload consumers with extra information on the amount of sodium, trans fat, and sugar in their meals.
Will it provide all of our needed information to follow a proper diet? No, but it is definitely a step in the right direction to help us make healthier choices.
The bill will target restaurants and grocery stores with more than 20 locations in the province.
Ontario spent more than $4 billion in 2012 caring for people struggling with obesity. The new law is just one piece in the battle, says Premier Kathleen Wynne. For MediaPlex News, I'm Lubna Fawaz.
Sean Preble sat down with Police Chief Al Frederick in this edition of 5 Minutes With.
Hi, I'm Sean Preble, and today we're spending 5 minutes with Al Frederick, Chief of the Windsor Police Service. Last year, the Windsor Police conducted a census and determined that there wasn't necessarily enough diversity amongst its force, and so this year it looks like you guys are trying to get more women and other minority groups. Why do you think it is there's perhaps a lack of diversity?
Well, first of all, we have a mandate to reflect the community that we serve. So that gives us the motivation to try and be more reflective. So what we're trying to do is maintain our standards, which are extremely high. It's a very competitive process. But at the same time, we want to break down barriers that people have, different segments of our population, to applying for the Windsor Police Service. So for example, what we've discovered, women in particular, don't like to compete during the physical fitness part of the application process next to male counterparts. So we've removed that barrier and they can all compete just with women.
Okay, how have you removed that barrier?
When we hold public outreach opportunities in our community, we go into different schools, St. Clair College, the University of Windsor. We invite only female applicants. We have female testers there, and we have some female officers on scene to help, the participants to better understand what it means to be a police officer.
Okay, and why should women and other minority groups consider joining the Windsor Police Service?
So we have tremendous needs. Our community is the fourth most diverse community in all of Canada. So we need to better understand the communities we serve, to be as good as we can be, to provide the services that, equitably all across the spectrum amongst all people in Windsor. We need to have people that represent and are reflective of those diverse communities. It's as simple as that. It could be a language barrier, could be a cultural issue that we're going to be more aware of and have those skill sets when we have diverse employees.
Okay, and on top of making sure there are different police officers, female police officers at these community outreaches, what is Windsor Police, doing to really widen that range of diversity and to just really reach out and prompt people, come join us, we're open to anyone joining?
The first thing we're doing is reaching out to a lot of different cultural hubs within the community, churches, schools, that sort of thing. But the other thing is we're trying to do is educate people. What is it that you're in for as a police officer? It's not all glamour. It's 3 shifts, it's 24/7, 365. It's a very demanding profession, both intellectually, physically, and it takes a toll on you personally with the demands of the job. So court, for example, after you've worked all night and that sort of thing. So we try to be fair with applicants and educate them as much as we can and let them know it's not all glamour. It's a very difficult and demanding job.
Okay. Now, back in the fall of 2012, I know the police held a town hall to give people a chance to voice their concerns and just speak with the organization. Now, given it's been more than a year since that town hall, how do you think the public perception has changed of the Windsor Police Service?
In order to measure that, we held an external satisfaction survey. It was conducted by a third party, so independent of us. And we found that there's tremendous satisfaction with the services we normally or typically provide. So we've had about a 90% approval rating. However, we're always striving to be better. So we think that for the most part, we're doing and we're delivering the services in the manner that the people are expecting from us. But again, we're committed to improving each and every day. That's one of the our foundations for growth as an organization, is that every day we can do things better, and we're committed to that goal.
Okay, and in a city the size of Windsor, what would you say are the biggest challenges that the Windsor Police Force, that law enforcement faces?
Technology is a big one. So money being what it is, constraints on our budget, you're trying to identify the best technologies that help us be as effective as possible, but there are so many different technologies out there that we can acquire that would help perhaps in incremental ways, but we want to get the best bang for our buck. So that's a huge challenge for us.
Okay, and one last question. What are your future plans for the Windsor Police Service?
That's a great question. So right now we're in the middle of what we call strategic business planning. That is a process that started with a lot of community consultation, and it's going to plan the future of the Windsor Police Service over the next 3 years. So all of our technology, all of our human resource projects, all of our operational initiatives, they will all be defined in this strategic business plan that's under development right now.
I'm Sean Preble, and we've just spent 5 minutes with Chief Al Frederick of the Windsor Police.
Now let's head back outside to Sarah to get our full weather forecast. Is it still cold out there, Sarah?
Thanks, Sean. It's freezing out here, but I do have a fun fact of the day for you. Did you know one single punchki has around 700 calories? That's the same as eating an Angus third pounder with bacon and cheese from McDonald's? Crazy. Well, here's your 3-day weather forecast. Tomorrow, expect a chance of snow with variable cloudiness. We'll see a low of -10 and a high of -4. Thursday will be partly cloudy with a low of -11 and a high of -3. Friday will be partly cloudy with a low of -10 and a high of -3. And now back to you, Sean.
18-year-old Windsorite Priya MNN now carries a prestigious title. The University of Windsor student was crowned Miss Canada 2014 out of her 18 other finalists on Saturday. With her new title, Priya hopes to start a nationwide campaign. This is to help low-income and at-risk youth access quality education and the financial support needed to graduate from high school and pursue further education. Missed the Oscars? Not to worry, Sean Preble has a look at the Oscar winners.
The Academy Awards took place Sunday night, and it did not disappoint the millions of people watching. With Ellen DeGeneres hosting it for the second time, people were treated to huge laughs and even more so, a ceremony with some truly great moments. Unsurprisingly, Matthew McConaughey and Cate Blanchett took home the awards for Best Actor and Actress respectively, but it was Lupita Nyong'o's acceptance speech for Best Supporting Actress that stole the show, telling people to always pursue their dreams no matter where they're from.
When I look down at this golden statue, may it remind me and every little child that no matter where you're from, your dreams are valid. Thank you.
The night ended, however, with the real shocker of 12 Years a Slave taking the Academy Award for Best Picture, stealing the award from frontrunners American Hustle, Gravity, and Wolf of Wall Street. This year's Oscars were also another for the history books, when the original song, Alone Yet Not Alone, became the sixth in the Academy's history to have its nomination revoked. But despite this hitch, overall it was an exciting night, and while many of the results went as expected, there were a few pleasant surprises that made the night all the more special. I'm Sean Preble, and this has been your Oscar Minute.
Cooper's Hawk Vineyard hosted Glamorama, an event geared to women. Richard Riosa has the story.
Cooper's Hawk Vineyards, located between Harrow and Kingsville, hosted Glamorama February 22nd. An all-female affair, the event featured wine tastings, light snacks, a handful of local female art vendors, a women's makeup specialist, and a playful fashion show by Bras by Jillish. Glamorama organizer Marianne Perry says the event was meant to showcase county art in hopes of drawing people out of the city.
If you're out in the county, there's a lot of wine tasting, but there are also a lot of great places to shop.
Brianne Janice was one of the local vendors. She makes and sells handmade gemstone jewelry and says she couldn't pass up the opportunity to be a part of the event.
I think it's a great thing that women get together to, share their skills, their craft, and, just converse in general and drink wine.
Janice said the highlight of her day was seeing the work done by the other local artists. Jill Thompson, owner of Bras by Jillish, says she was happy to showcase her wearable art at such a glamorous event.
There's a lot of people out in the county that love to have a good time and that are delighted by my things. And so I'm actually kind of surprised and kind of floored that they like it and they respond well to it.
Thompson said she was happy with the turnout and positive reaction her art received from the more than 100 people who attended. Reporting for MediaPlex News Now, I'm Richard Riosa.
By the time March break rolls around, many students have already planned their getaway. But just how much will it be costing them? Liam Higgins explains more in this edition of Money Minute.
Do you plan on going away for your March break this year? You're definitely not alone on that one. You are part of the 12% of Canadians reported from last year that plan on going for vacation for their March break. And while it can be an enjoyable time, it's not so enjoyable for the credit cards. A poll conducted by the Huffington Post concluded that the average vacationer will spend $2,665 for their March break excursion. While that seems like a lot of money, residents of Ontario didn't think it was enough. The poll found that the average resident would be spending $2,931. Whether you prefer to take a dip into a tropical ocean or hit the slopes to test your abilities, there's always a deal for you. 3 helpful tips for saving money this break include booking your flights early, checking out websites like SkiCan, Travelocity, and Expedia.com for affordable rates, and depending on your travel destination, watch for the currency rates. They can make you spend more money than you planned. So remember, choose your vacation wisely this year, and remember to be safe. I'm Liam Higgins, and this has been your Money Minute.
The political situation in Ukraine has grown more violent, and Windsor's Ukraine community is concerned about their loved ones back home. A peace rally is being held on Sunday to show support and to encourage Russia to pull its troops out of the country. The rally will take place at Lansbury Park at 1 p.m. Local basketball is the topic of this week's Sports Minute.
Hedges, and this is your Sports Minute for February 26th. Spring is in the air, and that means playoff basketball is here. The Windsor Express steamrolled their competition in the National Basketball League of Canada and hold the #1 seed going into the playoffs. First-round home games are scheduled for Tuesday and Wednesday, March 4th and 5th at the WFCU Center. The University of Windsor Lancer women's basketball team are looking to win another OUA title before hosting the national championships in mid-March and hope the basketball gods are with them on their quest for a 4th national championship in a row. The Lancer men have qualified for the OUA Final Four and will play the top-ranked Carleton Ravens on Friday night to kick off the tournament. The St. Clair College women's team won their play-in game against George Brown on the weekend and traveled to Hamilton to kick off the OCAA playoffs against St. Lawrence College on Thursday at 1 p.m. The Saints men were unable to advance to the OCAA playoffs but had their first 10-win season and hosted their first play-in game since 2008. So big congrats to the men's team. That's your Sports Minute. Reporting for MediaPlex News, I'm Brett Hedges.
Let's take one last look outside. Please, Sarah, tell me you have some good news for us.
Thanks, Sean. So if you missed it, here's our 3-day weather forecast. Tomorrow, expect a chance of snow with variable cloudiness. We'll see a low of -10 and a high of -4. Thursday will be partly cloudy with a low of -11 and a high of -3. Friday will be partly cloudy with a low of -10 and a high of -3. Windsorites, if you're not doing anything tomorrow and are planning on going out for food, come support the Journalism Club. All you have to do is go to Buffalo Wild Wings at Devonshire Mall, you can order any food product, and just let them know you're there to support the Journalism Club. When you do that, they'll donate 10% of your entire bill to the Journalism Club here at St. Clair College. We'd appreciate it tons, but make sure you let them know because it doesn't count if you don't tell them. Well, I also wanted to wish everybody a happy Fat Tuesday, Punchki Day, Mardi Gras, whatever you want to celebrate today. I'm going to enjoy my 700 calories. It is so worth it.
Rick Dawes produced this MediaPlex News Now promo.
If you like what you see here, then you'll love our great MediaPlex News lineup.
Watching MediaPlex News Now.
Tune in Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 p.m. for MediaPlex Live at 1, and also Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. for MediaPlex News Now.
Specialist Sean Garrity.
So tangled up. Hang on, Sean Garrity's here.
It's content produced by MediaPlex students for our in-the-know audience.
The desk is clean.
The MediaPlex, bringing you news perspectives from the next generation of journalists.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Sean Garrity, and you're watching MediaPlex News Now.
MediaPlex News Now is a production of the St. Clair College Journalism Program.